Hi, I'm Sophie, and welcome to my world. You know, the winter time is the perfect time to make a snowman. Unfortunately, I live in San Francisco, California, where it never snows, but we do recycle a lot, and so I've created my very own coffee cup lid recycled snowman. And I'd like to show you how to make one just for yourself. And so to make this project, you are going to need some coffee lids. Now, it's not important that you have 3 different sizes, but as long as you can have 2 different sizes, that's great. So you're going to definitely need one that's smaller for the head, and then the body can either be the same size or they can be ones that are slightly larger than each other. You're going to need 2 white pipe cleaners. You're going to need a black pipe cleaner if you want to make a broom. You don't necessarily have to make a broom, but I'm going to show you how. And I've got a brown pipe cleaner that's going to be his arms. I've got a little strip of fabric that's going to be his scarf, but you could use anything that you wanted to use, a cut up t-shirt, anything, you know, whatever, ribbon, it's up to you, whatever you use. I am going to need a marker that can write on the plastic, so it needs to be a Sharpie marker. I've got some puff balls. I've got some googly eyes, some buttons, an old sock, just a little old kid's sock. And I'm definitely going to need a hole puncher and a glue gun. Now remember, always, 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 when you're using a glue gun, make sure you have adult supervision. And of course, I'm always going to need my handy dandy scissors. Okay, so let's make this puppy. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to move all my stuff off to the side. I'm going to actually get my pieces all set and ready to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this broom so that it can be ready for action. So for my broom, I've got this great yarn here. I don't know if I told you that you needed yarn. You need yarn for your broom. Okay, I'm going to take the piece of yarn, put it across my hand, just like that, and I'm going to start wrapping. And you don't need to do too much. Don't need to do too much, but you want to wrap, about that much. Probably, I would say that's about 25, 30 wraps around. Okay, so there we go. And I'm going to snip it with my scissors and puff that off to the side for now. Now, I'm going to slide this out. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to slide it entirely off my hand. I'm going to actually take my black pipe cleaner at this point, and I'm going to slide it through. And I want to slide it through till it is halfway, just like that. Then I'm going to pull this up and see how I've caught it in the U-bend of my pipe cleaner. I'm going to cross that over and twist. And I want to twist really hard and make that nice and tight. And I'm just going to keep twisting all the way up to make my broom handle. This is how my broom handle is forming. And once you get past the bottom part, you can get a little looser with your twists. But I'm going to twist it all the way to the end, like that. There we go. Now, I'm going to snip these pieces down here at that loop over part. Now, to make it really, really broom-like, I could leave it like that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one more little piece of string. I'm going to lay it down underneath, and it's almost as if I'm making a tassel. So I'm about ½ an inch from the top here, and my string is lying down on the ground, and I place the broom part on top, and I tie this really, really tight. Like that. And then just cut it. And now I have a broom. If you wanted to make a Halloween thing and make a witch's broom, this would be exactly how you would do it. You can trim that if you want to, but I kind of like it when it's ragtag. All right, I'm going to put that off to the side. Now we're going to make our hat. Now for my hat, I'm going to be using a sock here. And as I've done in the past in my sock doll videos, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this about 2-3 inches down here from the top, however large and however long I want to make my hat. I want to have enough that I can fold it up. Now, some people might like to just take it and just fold it up like this. You can do that, but I like to have a little less bulk on my hat. So I'm just going to cut it right about in the middle there, about 3 inches down. Now, I am going to need to make a little teeny tiny hole up at the top here for my hanger So I'm just going to put my finger in here so I pooch it out, and then take my finger out so I don't cut myself, and just put a tiny, tiny, tiny little snip. See that? Tiny little snip makes a big hole. And now I'm going to put my puff ball on. I got my puff ball here, and I'm going to take a little bit of my hot glue here. Put the hot glue onto the puff ball, not onto the fabric. And the reason I'm going to do that, is so that I don't burn myself. I'm going to let it cool for about 15 seconds here. And now I've opened this up, but my fingers are down at the bottom. My fingers are not at the top. And I'm just going to attach that right there. Now my hole is still there. My puff ball's there. And then I just can fold this up. And I don't have to even worry about gluing the edges right now. But there's my little hat. Okay, I'm going to put that off to the side. All right, now it's time for Mr. Snowman. Now, these kind of cups, these are great because they actually have like a little sippy hole right there. So I'm going to line them up like this. Sippy hole to sippy hole. This does not have a sippy hole, this one does. So I'm going to need to make a hole punch right here. So I'm just going to take my hole puncher, go directly across from it, slide this in, and give it a little ka-chunk, ka-chunk. Okay, so now I've got hole, 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 hole. The top needs a hole, and that's where my hanger is going to go. So once again, right directly across, slip it in, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. Now I'm going to take my white pipe cleaners, and I'm actually going to cut these in half. And so I take this and I feed it through, and I make like a U-bend here, feed it through my hole, turn the two over. Now it's up to you how tight you want to make this. I like to leave it a little loose so it gets a little dangly. Okay, and I'm just twisting those two together. Just twisting, twisting, and then pull that out, and I can just cut off this little bit of extra. There we go. So now those dangle. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing. This time I'm going to go through this hole and the sippy part. So now if yours doesn't have sippy parts, you're going to need to make your holes on each one, on each cup. Okay, once again, I'm going to give myself a little space, doing the little twist action here, cut off the extra, pooch it down, and Mr. Snowman wants to know where that airplane's going. He's like, don't go to Florida, because I'd melt there, for sure. Okay, there is the body of my snowman. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hat on, but before I put my hat on, I'm going to take this long pipe cleaner here. I'm going to stick it up and through. Can you see that there? Mr. Snowman's a little bit long. Okay, so I'm going to stick that up and through. And then remember that little hole? I'm going to find that hole. And I stick my pipe cleaner up through the hole. And I'm just going to make a loop here and twist it. There we go. Twist it so that's nice and secure. Now I'm going to put the hat on. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue here and a little bit of glue here. Very tiny, tiny little bit. I'm going to be very careful not to burn my fingers. Okay, and then I'm going to scoot the hat down over the cup, just like it's wearing a hat. So see, there's his little face, and there's that. Okay, now turn it over. See my little, there we go, little hoop is on the top there to hang it. Turn it over, and I can cut this part off here because I don't need all of that. I can make basically a little curlicue. And that curlicue will just keep it from pulling out through the hole. There we go. So now he'll hang up. All right, now for his face, I'm going to do his eyes. So I'm going to put the little bit of hot glue on the back here. Now, you can use any kind of glue you want. I like, if I'm going to use like white glue, what I like to use is that thicker glue. It's kind of, I guess it's called a craft glue or a school glue. It's a thicker glue. You don't want that thin version of glue. You want a thicker version. Okay, so now I'm going to just take a little bit, put it on my nose. The reason I use a hot glue gun is because it's just much faster, and especially when you're doing a video, you don't want to wait for that to dry. Okay, so now I'm going to take my buttons. Now, because my buttons have holes, I'm going to just put my glue actually on my cup. And then I'll place my buttons down. Be very careful when you're using buttons. They do have these holes that if you push down, the glue can come up through the holes and get on your fingers and burn you. So just be careful. Okay, now he needs some arms to hold that fabulous, wonderful broomstick. Here's his broom. So his arms are going to come through here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hole punch, and I'm just going to do them on the sides here. One thing that I've learned is really important, one there and across right there, is investing in a good hole punch, because I have used some really bad hole punches in the past, and they, for some reason, when you use them in different materials, they bend, and then you can't use them anymore. So now I'm going to stick my pipe cleaner through one hole and out the other, and I'm going to just take a little bit of glue back here to keep it in place. Now be very careful. You might want to use your Sharpie pen here to just push that down, hold it in place for like 30 seconds till it dries. Okay, that's going to keep that in place. And I'm going to flip that over, and now he's got his arms. Now he can hold his broom. I'm just going to wrap it around like this. Let's see, what side do you want your arm? Let's see. Yeah, this one. This is like a good place for your broom. There he goes. He's got his broomstick in hand. And now he just needs one last thing, and that's his scarf. So I'm going to lay his scarf underneath here. Now you could also use glue dots. I didn't mention that you could use glue dots, but glue dots are great. Okay, so I'm going to have his scarf hanging down. Put a little teeny bit of hot glue there. There goes his scarf. And then I'm going to wrap it across his neck. Put a little teeny tiny drop of hot glue there. And now Mr. Snowman is all set except for his mouth, because he can't talk if he doesn't have a mouth, can he? So I'm just going to put some little cold dots with my Sharpie pen for his mouth. And there you have it, your own wiggly jiggly snowman. You can hang him up in your window, on your front door, any place where you need a little bit of that wintry chill. For more great chilly ideas that won't get you stuck in the snow, come and check us out at Sophie-World.com.